This week's Parsha is Parshas Lech Lecha, and there's an interesting concept, interesting theme that happens in the beginning of Parshas Lech Lecha. Right off the bat, Hashem promises Avraham. He says, "V'escha l'goy gadol v'avarechacha, v'agad l'shemecha v'yeh bracha." You're going to be a great nation, a big, great nation, an incredible nation. And then we see in the beginning of the very next parak, what happens? It says that there's a famine in the land. All of a sudden, not the next parak, a few psukim later, it says that there's a famine in the land. So here it is. Hashem gives Avram Avinu his big promise, and you're going to be a great nation, wealthy and prosperous, and boom, there's a famine. You have nothing to eat. I mean, it seems like a bit of a letdown, right? And what's more interesting is that Avram Avinu, he went to Mitzrayim because he needed to get some food. There was no food in his land, so he needed to go to Mitzrayim to amass some wealth and get some food. On the way to Mitzrayim, he stayed in a certain motel, probably not a very nice place because he didn't have any money. There was a famine. And when he left Mitzrayim, it said that he had a lot of money. The pasuk says he was kaved mud. He was heavy with gold and silver, and he had a lot of money. And yet he stayed in the same place, in the same dumpy old, rundown place that he stayed when he came into Mitzrayim. Why is that? Here he had money. He could have stayed in the Hilton. You know what I'm saying? He could have stayed in a fancy place, and yet he decided not to. So, a simple explanation of this would be, we all know about those people that even though they amass a great deal of wealth, they still live in a simple house, they still drive a simple car, they want to remain a simpleton. So the message over here that Avram Avinu is sending is that no matter how much money you are and how wealthy you become, obviously you should maintain your simple standard of life. But there's something actually, another point that you can learn that's fascinating I heard from Rabbi Friend. And he said the following. Hashem told Avraham Avinu, you are going to be rich and you're going to be wealthy. And when he went to that town on his way to Mitzrayim to stay in that dumpy old motel, they saw God didn't fulfill his promise yet. He's poor. Look at this man, Avraham. He's poor. He doesn't have anything to eat. He doesn't have any money. On the way back, he made a point to stay in that exact spot to show everyone, no. God delivered on his promise. Look at me now. I have kesef, I have gold and silver, I have money, I have wealth, I have food. Hashem fulfilled his promise. So by Avraham Avinu going specifically back to the place where he came from, where he stayed originally on the way to Egypt, when he was not as wealthy, he was making Kiddush Hashem. He was showing that town that Hashem does deliver on his promise, and we should always remember that Hashem delivers on his promise time and time again, as he's done throughout the generations, and he will continue to do so.